What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the After Credit Scene. I'm Rodney, and we are breaking down episode 7 of Disney Plus show What If. A lot of really awesome stuff in this episode, really fun episode, quite a few Easter eggs, and we're going to break it down all for you right now. So I really enjoyed this episode. It was a lot more lighthearted than the last 4 or 5 episodes. More of a cliffhanger at the end than an abrupt stop like we've gotten with several of these other episodes. And the premise and the plot and everything seemed to be explained a little better. I just liked the way it flowed, and probably because it was just a lot more fun and a lot more lighthearted. Again, the title of the episode is a little bit misleading, although it covers a broader range of ideas. So, what if Thor was an only child actually means, what if Odin didn't adopt Loki? And the Watcher actually explains this time in I thought, a lot better progression than just the fast-paced, let's get through the backstory of the old MCU that they've done in the past episodes. They did a lot more kind of a montage of images to show Odin returning Loki back to the Frost Giants and those kind of things. So you got that story, but the idea is that Odin did not adopt Loki. Maybe there wasn't a battle, or if there was, that returning Loki was part of the piece, or something like that was different from what we've seen in the MCU thus far. And that meant that Thor was raised as an only child. And so you got to see a lot of rhythms from Thor Ragnarok, a lot of characters from that. My favorite thing about this episode was the crossovers between so many different elements. I think the breadth of the MCU thus far really lent itself back to this episode, because you could throw in Guardians of the Galaxy characters, you could throw in Skrulls, all those different characters that we were able to see, and put them in a more lighthearted manner because they hadn't crossed paths in a combative nature. It kind of lends the question, it requires you to kind of ask, because Loki and Thor were separated, did that allow some space for less conflict, because there was no fight over power, there was no flip, and then Loki somehow becomes a catalyst for a lot of this? I guess you could make that argument, but it also means, and there's a story, a moral to be had here, that the struggles make the hero. That without those struggles, Thor would not have become the man he did become as quickly as he did, because at the end of this episode, he still has not become the mature leader that he's supposed to, like we've seen throughout Thor 1, Dark World, Ragnarok, Infinity War, all those kind of things. And so there is no struggle between him and Loki. So Loki's not vying for power, fighting with Odin, uniting with Thanos, doing all these different things. But that also means that Thor is not challenged with his ego. His party behavior is not challenged because he has no reason to go back to Jotunheim to fight the Frost Giants, to do these different things. And so Thor is not who he was. He's more, those first 10 minutes of the first Thor movie, where he's about to be crowned king, and he's very pompous and flipping his hammer in the air and pointing at everybody, and just very, very narcissistic. And so what if that guy had played out? Was made for a really fun episode. Whole bunch of Easter eggs in this episode. Quite a few, obviously, the rhythms from Ragnarok, from Dark World, all these different characters that you got to see. You got to see Ravagers from Guardians of the Galaxy. You got to see Yondu. Mantis is in the background of a party scene on the bridge in Sydney. And then the Skrulls and a lot of these different characters, in addition to getting to see some characters just in really funny roles. Surtur, having a conversation with the Statue of Liberty, Grandmaster DJing the party, Korg and Nebula playing craps in Las Vegas was a whole lot of fun. And those different elements crossing paths. I think this is one of my favorite episodes just because of those things, those crosses, and seeing those things. The only complaint I would have with this episode is that the idea of how did Thor manage to destroy a planet with a party, other than just, the stereotypical, frat boy college party movies that we've seen where a whole building gets destroyed, a whole house gets destroyed, and then you have to clean it up before your family arrives. Weird Science is an old 90s movie that's kind of like that. Risky Business is a movie like that where there's a big party and then you have to clean it up and fix everything. There's tons of those movies where those kind of things happen and people struggle to, the teenage character or the college character struggles to fix everything before the authority figures find out. So it had those kind of rhythms to it, but since he's Thor, it's on a galactic scale, via different worlds and the Earth and this Alpha Star Icarus location that they keep throwing out. I got that idea, but somehow explaining it, and you see this big board on the helicarrier, and Maria Hill and the other SHIELD agents are looking at it going, the party has spread and it looks like some kind of infection. Made it seem like there was something more to it. I think it was really weird that they were tracking a party. Maybe they're tracking alien invasions. I don't know. But that was a little bit confusing that they tried to make it more of a governmental issue right off the bat. But I did think it was funny that they called in Captain Marvel, who is seemingly a protector of the entire galaxy, to come in and have to deal with Thor. And that their battle was a lot of fun to watch. This worldwide spanning battle between the two of them that ultimately gets resolved when Jane Foster figures out how to contact Heimdall and ultimately contact Frigga, and she comes to fix things. So really funny, really interesting. Some of the other high points that I thought was really cool, they found a way to merge Howard the Duck into these shows again, and Howard and Darcy. Not only when I first saw them and I thought, oh, that's a fantastic combination, but then the continued joke where they get married. And so in some universe, there is a Mrs. Darcy the Duck. Was really, really funny. One more Easter egg there, with reference to a party movie, with Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Fury calling Thor Spicoli was really funny. It reminded me of Tony Stark calling Thor Lebowski in Infinity War and Endgame. And so a lot of those different Easter eggs, there's a bunch of different things like that. You get to see the Infinity Gauntlet, the fake Infinity Gauntlet, in Odin's treasure room right there at the beginning of the episode. And then Thor makes a reference to when he's handing a beer to somebody in Las Vegas right there at the beginning of the episode. He makes a comment about, hey, drink all of this you want because it never runs out. It's like magic. Is a reference to the end of Doctor Strange, where Thor and Doctor Strange are having a conversation about Thor being back on Earth looking for Odin, and Thor's sitting there and he says, well, I don't drink tea, and he has a big beer in his hand, and every time he finishes it, it fills back up. So again, some of the rhythms from the other shows and other movies, but piecing all that together, it just made for a really fun episode, and I really enjoyed it. The cliffhanger at the end, with the Ultron bots coming through some kind of portal from space, and you see the Infinity Stones on this Ultron bot, but then it's revealed that it's actually Vision inside an Ultron skin, was really interesting. Left me with a ton of questions that I'm hoping they answer either in this season or probably a season 2. to figure out why did that happen? What are the ramifications of the power vacuum that was left by there not being a Loki and Thor battle was kind of where my mind went. But the only thing I could figure was, without these things going on, Tony Stark is not called in to have to do anything with Loki and Thor in regards to the Avengers movie, the Avengers Initiative. And so without those kind of beats going on, maybe Tony has more time to create his Ultron project, and that got away from him. That's about as far as I took that. Maybe you guys have some more insight into that, but as far as an abrupt stop to the episode like we've had the last couple of weeks, this was not that, and it felt more like a cliffhanger, and it gave me some questions that I wanted to ask, and made me look forward to, I can't wait till they answer that, rather than just this, whoa, what just happened? So tell us what you guys think. Like I said, it was a really fun episode. I really enjoyed watching this one. It didn't have the downer to it like the last several had, and it actually made me look forward to what they're going to do next week, as opposed to how I came into this episode, which was, I hope this is not depressing again. But I still think they're piecing these things together for some kind of reveal or some kind of crossover, something that we haven't quite figured out yet in the last couple of episodes. So, as always, like and subscribe to this video. Hit the notification bell so every time we drop a new video, you'll be the first to know about it. And share this video all across the multiverse. Until the next one drops, we'll see you then.